I live in Asia, in a capital city, where old homes clash against rising high-rises. The kind of place where neighbors aren't always what they seem. The house I bought? It was a steal, literally. A family friend who hadn't lived in the country for 3 years needed cash, fast. So I stepped in. The house was mid-renovation, held together by half-finished dreams and a rusty padlock on the front door. No gate. No security. Just open. From day one, things fell off. I walked into the garage, and someone else's bike was parked there. Not mine. Some random guy using my space like a public lot. I rolled it out to the road, and within hours, a man was banging at my gate. I didn't answer, just watched from my window as he gave up and took the bike. That was the first red flag. The second? People blocking my gate constantly, assuming the house was still abandoned. A quick no parking sign fixed that, but it told me just how invisible this property had become to the neighborhood. They didn't respect it, or its new owner. And then came the water. It was just a normal night. I was in the shower, lathered up, relaxing, when the water pressure dipped. I mean seriously dipped. At the same moment, I heard a familiar whirring hum. A water pump. But not mine. It was coming from next door. That house belonged to an older man, crusty, bitter. He lived on the ground floor and rented out the other 2 to tenants. He had been furious when the house was sold. According to my friends, the old owners, he'd been vocal, almost hostile. But I'm a 6-foot guy with 3 dogs. I wasn't exactly worried about him doing anything dumb. Still, hearing his pump while my water pressure plummeted? It didn't sit right. I waited. When his pump shut off, I turned on a tap. Water pressure, normal. Coincidence? Maybe. But that wasn't the only sign. See, even when the house was empty for 3 years, the water bills had been suspiciously high. Everyone assumed it was due to leaks in the old pipes. But now, I was starting to see the puzzle pieces click together. Imagine this. You just bought your home, fixed it up, started settling in, and now you realize your own neighbor has been stealing your water. Probably for years. Walking into your property like it was his, installing some hidden siphon and thinking, no one's around. It's mine now. It wasn't about the cost. Water's cheap here. $5 a month covers my dogs, the car, the garden. But it was about the principle. Resentment creeps in. It was about the audacity of someone thinking they had the right to take, just because I wasn't looking. So I made a choice. I didn't yell at him, didn't confront him, didn't even call the cops. I flicked a switch. Literally. On Monday I waited. The moment his pump roared to life, I walked over to my main valve and turned it off. Silence. But not for long. Now, here's how these systems work in my country. Water is pumped to tanks on the roof. The tanks have ball valves that detect the water level. If there's no water coming in, the valve stays open, signaling the pump to keep going. Forever. Until something gives. That night, something gave. I thought maybe I'd burn out his pump. Maybe inconvenience his tenants. But I underestimated just how ancient and fragile his wiring was. The next thing I knew, it was 3 a.m. I heard murmurs. Then shouting. Lights flickering. Doors opening. Chaos. The tenants were livid. No water. No power. Just his building, dark in the middle of a glowing city street. The landlord, Mr. I deserve free water, stood helpless. And in our country, water and power aren't luxuries. They're legally protected essentials. Denying them can get you fined, sued, even charged. And his tenants didn't hold back. 2 days later, one moved out entirely. The other filed a police complaint. Turns out, since the wiring hadn't been updated in decades, the overworked pump caused a full-blown electrical meltdown. And because he hadn't maintained the infrastructure, the law was clear. It was his responsibility. He was fined $500, which here is a small fortune. He had to refund both security deposits. Couldn't re-rent the units until everything was fixed. He had no income, and by the weekend he was moving out. Packed his things and shuffled off to live with his daughter. But that's not the best part. He came by my gate one morning, calm, casual, asked me, Did you turn off your water supply? I looked him dead in the eye and smiled. Oh, yeah, I said. Had a leak in one of the pipes. Plumber's coming tomorrow. His face didn't change, but his eyes did. You ever see someone clench their jaw behind a fake smile? He knew. He knew I knew. And he knew there wasn't a damn thing he could do. I wasn't breaking any laws. I didn't touch his property. All I did was stop giving him something that wasn't his in the first place. Next week, I'm getting a full plumbing inspection, making sure there are no pipes leaving my boundary, no weak spots, no access, no mercy. What started as a hunch became one of the most satisfying wins of my life. Not because I wanted to ruin someone, but because someone tried to use me, walk over me, and all it took was turning a tap.